Жатва 01. Всем позывным. Наша цель захвачена на базе Кафтан. Конец связи.
Hi folks, welcome to another stream of Arma Reforger. Today we're going to be talking with Klamacz, the project lead, and he's going to play the game and explain us a little bit how to play it, what are the good strategies. We're going to talk a bit about history and give some general info about what Arma Reforger is as a game, what are specific features of Reforger, some history of Arma as a franchise, and some general chatting in the two of us. Maybe we can start with introduction. Klamacz, could you tell us who are you actually?
Hello, I'm Klamacz. My real name is Krzysztof Bielawski, don't try to pronounce it. And I'm currently the project lead of Arma Reforger, so kinda responsible for that. So if something goes wrong, you can blame me.
Alright, and how come you're working on it? How did it happen to you?
Well, I started playing Operation Flashpoint in around year 2000, so it's already like 24 years. I played all the Armas as they were coming out, most of the DLCs, most of the campaigns, and then I decided that I want to join. I was already developing my own games and working in other companies, so I figured I'm gonna join and actually work on the best game I believe there is. That's how I'm here.
Is it still the best game?
Well, we are. It is challenging. It is challenging. I would say Arma 3 is still in many ways better, but we are trying to keep up and be the top one.
Amazing. So what makes you still love Arma Reforger, despite all of your history with Arma as a franchise?
Oh, it. Wait. Yeah? Okay. So, thanks to being able to do it from scratch, we were able to solve some really frustrating and missing problems of previous Armas. So, it's completely new locomotion, it's completely new weapon handling, it's a lot more FPS as for performance. Yeah, in many ways, it's a new age of Arma.
Well, show us the new age. Let's dive right in.
Okay.
As you're gonna be playing, I'm gonna be asking you all the questions that people who could be new to the game, to the franchise, our new console players could be asking. So get ready.
Yeah.
What are you doing now?
So first, this is the main menu, right? Here you can choose what do you want to do. You can check the scenarios available. You can play Game Master, Conflict, Combat Ops. on our maps. You can also see all the scenarios which are available,
Maybe
including.
you can tell us about every game in one sentence so we know
Yeah, sure.
what you're gonna do.
So Capture and Hold is basically the fast-paced PvP game mode. It's best to experience around 20 to 30 people. It's on small scale, it's very intense, and we have a few versions of them, some smaller, some bigger, some have vehicles available, and at most just you pick a loadout and you go engage enemies.
And the differences in the maps.
Yeah, the difference is the environment. So you have some small house in the middle of forest, or you have a factory, or you have a whole town to capture, and there will be multiple points that you have to follow off and buy points. So it's a matter of 30 minutes maybe of gameplay. Then we have a Combat Ops, which is basically single player / co-op scenario where you have few objectives to do. You can do it solo or with friends, and then you have 2 maps available. On Ireland you play as US Special Forces fighting Soviet occupation, and on Averon you play as a resistance, and it's a lot bigger, a lot more complex with hideouts you can find and supply caches and side missions. It's like a small game in itself.
And essentially it's
Yes, it's mostly you between other AI or like environment, other challenges of the game.
Arma Reforger, fight the map.
Then of course we have the Conflict, which is our main PvPvE game mode, and we have it in multiple versions. So Ireland is the smaller map, Averon is the main map, and then we have few versions, variants, which take part of the big map, allow you to play more focused. Yes. And last but not least, there is Game Master. This is the why Arma exists. This is the creation tool. You can create the kind of scenario and play with the tools with almost no limit. And of course on both worlds. And we have tutorial, which here is called training, the new narrative cinematic experience, which should in how to play the game, and that's basically the first thing to play if you are new to Arma Reforger.
And it's single player.
Yes, it's full. So do we have?
12. U12.
Okay. So here there are server browser, and we will look through official servers. PS5, so we're gonna join some experience and see if we can connect. So I will want to show you basically how the main default standard experience of playing Conflict. Join, what can you do? Why is it fun to fight over that big world with all the tools?
Yeah, what's the point of conflict? What is the final objective? How big are the team?
So
Or behind?
yeah, it evolves from concept called capture the island. Basically, you face the enemy faction. You have 2 factions to choose from. I will go with the ones which have less people, because have more targets. And I can also create my own group, or I can join existing group. Another option. For now, I will just create our own. The point is to take control over of the whole island, and you do it by having control over those pink objectives. Have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. The side which have control of bigger count of those will win after some timer. But to get there, you have to capture the bases which are in between you to expand your radio signal range. That's how you can then. So right now I cannot even capture those places. I have to capture first this town of Mul.
And what is radio signal range? Why is it important?
Yeah, so this allows to connect the bases so you can communicate and create network. You can see those red lines that's available bases that we could connect, so I could capture any of those three, and then from that point there would be another spread of the signals and more area. That's how you want to travel your bases, or like expand your bases for the map. Also, this radio signal is useful in game because you actually communicate with radio. Those bases relay the signal for. So if you coordinate your efforts with players, or with the your squad, or just every player on the map, then you want to operate within that radio signal, so they can hear you.
Yeah, so if you drive all the way to the final objective, you will be
Yeah,
alone.
you kind of cannot do anything about it beside harassing the other side and ambushing, scouting. There are actually many ways you can be killed by traveling of the map. Can you for you? But if you are new, you rather should focus on current objective. You can see how many people actually picked it up. I think it's on the. Now I'm also accepting the objective. Means that also other people know that our efforts are. We can see on the map that some other groups are moving.
All right. So 1 and 10.
Yeah. So here we spawned inside. I think the base main HQ. You can. The main tent is the center of operations. Inside, you can access the interface to build the compositions.
What's composition?
It's basically like objects that you can add to your base to have functions. So, for example, arsenal, which allows you loadouts and items and weapons, or a radio relay station, which basically expands the range map so we can connect with bigger.
So when I capture a new base, it's not enough for me to capture it. I also need to build a radio relay station,
Yes.
right?
Yes, and if you want your base to not be captured quickly by an enemy, you should build those components. They slow down the capture time. They actually have a lot more value than just providing you with box.
Mm-hmm. And how do I capture? How do I build? Like, do I need anything to capture, or do I just through this menu?
Yeah, you have to have supplies. So the supplies is like the main logistical resource the map. You have to have them in your base. They're actually stored here by the tent. You can see a bunch of boxes. Those are supplies. Wait a second. Yes, thank you. So supplies are the crucial resources for your site. They are generated in a few places on the map. Main HQ like this one has those supplies, a lot of them. You should transport those supplies to the bases you capture to be able to build the new compositions, to be able to spawn in those bases. Because also you yourself, when you decide to spawn in those bases, take this up. Even operating the arsenal, which allows me to take weapons, ammunition, other equipment, explosives, attachments, suppressors, avenue, or also medical gadgets and
Get in, boys, get in. Now let us go.
so you have all the loadouts, gloves, backpacks, hats, and all the things that soldiers need are stored in those two boxes.
Yeah, so there's one box for weapons and ammunition, and the other box for gear.
Equipment, yeah.
Equipment. Okay. And if I'm new and I've never played a military game before, how do I build my first loadout? What should I think about?
Yeah, that's a good question. Default loadout as you spawn with is actually pretty good. It has wrong button. this one. So you have basically ammunition for your main gun, you have some grenades, you have some small grenades, you have communication equipment, which is radio, and you have medical equipment, and you have navigation equipment. So there is a lot of smaller things that are useful only when you get to the point that you need to use them. So you have bayonet, one of the first item over here. That is useful to put it on your gun, attached to your gun. So then when someone is up close, you can stab him. And trenching tool is actually the thing which is useful to build things. So if I equip it right from here, my character takes it into hand. So then if there would be some compositions to build, they would appear here, and I would be able to help with construction of those.
So it's not enough to just go to the main menu and say now radio tower is built. You also need to physically go and shovel.
Yes, and you can then assembly those objects, or also disassembly the ones which were built maybe improperly, like this one. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't have arsenal that quickly. It makes people waste all the supplies on the
Cool
equipment, cool guns. Yeah, I think it's actually more important to be reasonable with your supply cost of your loadout. So yes, it would be cool to take something better with me. Maybe I will replace this AK with RPK, because that's better gun for me. I want to drop it into the arsenal, so actually the supplies are being restored instead of dropping just around like people are doing here. If you want to be a good guy, pick those things up, put them into box. It actually retrieves some of the cost. So be reasonable when you're picking your equipment. The cost of your loadout takes away from supplies from everyone. So you may block someone else from spawning if your loadout is too expensive.
And how do I know how much supplies there is for the whole camp?
Actually, there are a few ways of checking this. You can see here on the action how many supplies are available in the camp. They are slowly regenerating because this is the main base. Right now it's 90. This is not enough even for a single player equipment. That's very little. We cannot build anything. We cannot really rearm anyone at this moment because everyone needs to have some stuff.
But on the other bases, they will not generate automatically?
They regenerate depending on the size, location, and some other aspects. So there is some depth to it as for the regeneration. But we are also constantly tweaking how supplies affect, and we don't want the supplies to be too easy to get, so don't get used to the auto generation. It may change in the future.
Is supply run a thing in this game?
Yeah, definitely. You should. One of the easiest things that new players can do is to get a vehicle, fill it with supplies, and transport it to other bases where they are needed. So we were discussing in the meantime. Our friends captured this old wood base here, which means that right now it has only 137 supplies, and out of 500, as you can see here, our main base has a lot bigger capacity. It's slowly regenerating. So as soon as there is, a few hundred here, we should pack it up into vehicle, drive it over to old wood.
Yeah, and we can also see that now in the old wood there is no radio tower, so the radio signal is not propagated further, as you can see on the icons that are not selected.
Yeah, there is no further red lines leading to other bases. That the trench is too high.
And as a new player, how do I know? Like, should I bring supplies to Lemul or to Old Wood?
Well, there are a few ways. Like I usually hover over those bases so I can see how much supplies there are, and then also from like strategical situation we can see that those players are moving towards Calvary Hill. They will be capturing that base. That base definitely needs a radio, so bringing few hundred supplies is a good idea. It's generally a good idea to have a few hundred supplies in every base, because you may need to spawn there for whatever reason, and you don't want to have zero supplies, which disallows you from spawning. So you want to keep the supplies in those bases, at least in some minimal capacity. Also, taking the full truck of supplies and driving it to the most front base is not necessarily great idea. There may be still enemies, the area may not be clear, you may actually lose that vehicle and those supplies, which is not that good for your side. So better move the supplies slowly, pick those bases which seem to be already captured and actually need supplies, or ask other people. Maybe someone is organizing your side efforts and will ask you to bring supplies in the particular one.
Yeah. Maybe you can show us how to spawn a vehicle. We can get some supplies, and on the way you can tell us a little bit about how to play as a group. Because you mentioned that you can ask people, and what is the team play? Is this the game for solo players or mostly for people who play together?
Yeah, so let me just start with requesting vehicle. There is this building which I just used. It's the light vehicle depot, and in the bottom you can see I could spawn a few vehicles, but at this moment there is not enough of supplies to do it. So basically the only thing I can do is leave it. Either wait for supplies to regenerate, or maybe I can hitch a ride with the other people here. They are probably going to work on some objective, so that's like a good idea. Now the cool thing is that if I ride with this guy, he gets extra XP for transporting me, which is a good for him. Good for me, I don't have to drive, and I don't maybe even know where to drive, and he knows. And it's good for him because he ranks up faster, so he has access to better vehicles and better features. We have the ranking system.
Tell us a little bit about it. Like, what does it mean?
Yeah, so basically you start as the lowest rank possible as a private, and then you do the objectives. So, for example, the fact that we may go and capture some base or fulfill the objective which I even selected here, that gives you XP points. Those XP points allow you to rank up, and every rank can give you some additional features and options. So, for example, the vehicle depot which we were just checking, some of the vehicles will be rank locked, and they will not be available for you from the beginning. You have to work yourself through the ranks to be able to get them.
Why?
So not everything is available at all the times, and things have a meaning. Things have more value. Not all the best equipment was always available for every ground, right? So you have to be special force to use that great weapon, or you have to be a sergeant to be able to commandeer an armored vehicle. So those limitations exist in real life. Not everyone runs around with the best possible equipment, and we try and simulate that because that adds to the authenticity of combat.
So it's mostly for flavor, also for gameplay, that you don't spend too much supplies if you're a newbie.
That is also a good point. Some typical struggle of ours and players is that the supplies run out because people take too much of it. So yes, we are also planning future limitations for this. And maybe in the first 10 minutes you don't need to use all the things. Rather, you should focus on orienting yourself, finding a task which you can do, or a group to join, and the good things will be available to you when you actually put effort. Fine.
All right. So speaking of groups, how would you recommend people who are new to the game to join the team play, especially if they're a bit shy?
Yeah. So first thing I usually do is I check who is on the server, like how many people, what's the distribution between faction. You can check each faction separately somehow, sometimes. That probably doesn't work. Lead Klamacz. Oh, I know this guy. Another thing is that you have the group menu, which I'm trying to find now.
Careful, we've got enemies ahead, guys.
So in the group menu, you will see all the groups which are on your side. You can see who is in those groups, what are their ranks, what are their radio frequency. So good idea is to communicate with people when you see them around. Try to talk with them, right? So one thing I can do, I can just press this button and then I'm speaking. Hey man, how are you doing?
Hey,
Where are you going?
there
See?
was a
That's how you
fire.
talk with people.
We'll need a separate tutorial for that.
No, I'm not very good at it. I usually play solo, to be honest. But okay, people. I'm not sure. Maybe he's saying,
I need
Oh,
your
wait.
headphones. Yeah.
guys. That's why. Sorry, man. I had audio issues. Where are you going?
I think Calvary hit.
Okay, okay. Can I follow you?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, man.
Are you new?
Yeah, I'm pretty new. Do you have a group?
Позиционная башня на базе Хэк. Конец связи.
Oh, it's here. Okay. So
You just gotta hold the Are you on PlayStation?
yeah, on PlayStation. Yeah, I just
You gotta
joined.
hold the bumper to talk.
All right. Thank you. I just joined your group, so I'll follow you.
We'll get back in this vehicle and this guy will take us.
Thank you, thank you. I joined your group. Thanks. Well, that was not that difficult.
Awesome. And what is the benefit of playing together? How do you take care of your teammates? What do you do as a good teammate?
So, I should listen to what those people are planning and try to help them, right?
I do.
Oh my god, you're an American?
Yeah, man, what's up?
Oh, thank god, I'm not the only American.
Yeah, so when I try to play with other people, I try to follow them, understand what they do, and try to support them in that. So often people go straight to objective and they may not notice some enemy, this could be FIA soldier hidden somewhere. So just be behind them and support their movement. If they,
Want me to navigate?
like those guys are now,
I want to try to get you.
oh, we are under fire.
Okay, just keep rolling.
That's RPG, guys.
We're on this road, we're gonna go left at the paved road.
Yeah. Another thing is that we have unconsciousness.
I believe in you.
So
I wanna say
you
the
may
supply
go
chain is movement, so
into coma, like a coma, lay down and not be able to move. But other people may help you by bandaging you, giving you medical items to so you don't bleed out. They can, help to save you. They can throw smoke grenades to cover your position from enemy. It's actually safer to be around other people for many reasons. They can see things that you don't see, like I'm looking one way, the other, I can report if I see something on the right side. You have to put a bit of thought into this. You are a group
Where
now.
are we trying to go?
I want to grab some supplies from this cache here, and then we can move up.
Okay, copy. I'll cover you while you feel.
You see, that's the
Hey,
thing
you
what
wanna
they're doing.
Take that truck. We'll get more.
Yeah, I'd be smart. Yeah, I'd be a lot
All
smarter.
right, I'll pull it up.
I'll provide security. So,
It's running.
where is my gun?
Friendly again?
Do I have a gun? Today, oh, I have a gun, right? Where's my gun? So, if you struggle with keys like me, the good option is to go to settings and check your key bindings, or observe the hints on the bottom. What's this one? Yes, it's here. It's all fine. I have a gun, and you can equip it.
Is that close enough?
We've got a great video coming out about all the controls.
Yeah.
I'll start filling.
Всем позывным. Это Ж209.
Now I will use a bit of motion control because that's the superior way of aiming.
Let's roll.
Well, they are ready already. Maybe I'll take the other vehicle so we don't leave the vehicles behind. They cost supplies. So this vehicle is also running out of fuel, so something to take care of.
Where do you refuel?
You can refuel inside bases if you have something called fuel depot. You can also refuel on actual fuel stations, which are placed on in the world, so you can find them. Ooh, the brakes are tough.
Alright, I'll
Fill you up
follow
with
you
supplies
guys.
right quick.
You hop in with him.
Do
I'll
you
follow
pay
guys.
for fuel with supplies?
Wait a sec. I don't know the map, so you have to navigate. Sorry again.
Okay.
Do you have to pay for fuel with supplies?
Actually, I think so. If you have the fuel,
Of 30 to 35.
that helps.
There's Calvary Hill.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna turn around off this road, you can take a left outside.
So now you're gonna follow the big truck?
They're trying to navigate me how to get out. Don't hit me. You mean should I turn left?
Yeah, make a left.
Okay, you're going left.
And then you're gonna make another left.
Roger that. So, I'm apparently important now. So it's a bit stressful because, you know, few people depend on our actions. We'll pay
And then
attention.
next dirt road, you're gonna take a right.
Next door, dirt road right, okay. I guess it's here. The driving is experience on its own. We have amazing car physics, plus the adaptive triggers help with the brakes and acceleration, like feeling of
You
it.
should be all the way going right up to Calvary Hill on this dirt road here.
Just straight, right?
Yeah.
Alright. I'm gonna drive a bit slower than usually because there is a heavy truck behind us and he may not have enough power to climb that hill. And also we are forward scout at this moment, so if we encounter enemies, we need to deal with them before they can engage the vehicle. And we are actually getting close to a Calvary Hill base, which is just up the hill. Oh, that's an empty vehicle. That shouldn't be the thing. Gonna push to those trees. Maybe even closer. YOLO.
Looks like
Oh, that was RPG.
Oh, I said that way too soon. We've got an RPG behind us.
Guys, be careful.
Yeah,
Alright, disembark.
let's dismount.
He was by the road. Down.
I'm gonna frag him a little bit.
Yep, good direction.
I don't see anyone. He says there. So here I don't even see the enemies, but he sees, right? So
He's just here at this base.
he's shooting something, so I'm just gonna help and spray it. 'Cause why not? That's called suppressive
I'm
fire.
gonna pull the truck up and deposit the supplies.
I suck at this game. Do I not have ammo? Where's my ammo? Did I take the wrong ammo? Probably. Anyway, that's okay. You basically can experience, I can see how a new player experience can look like. I don't know the controls, I'm very confused, but it's beautiful and very immersive as well. And people are helpful, like those guys are, I don't even know what the platform they are playing, probably PC. You guys are on, sorry, you guys are on PC?
I'm on
PC,
Xbox.
yeah.
Oh, you PC and Xbox,
Xbox,
okay,
yes.
cool,
Oh,
cool.
we're like full cosplay. You're on Xbox, he's on PS5, I'm on PC.
Nah.
Yeah,
It's united finally.
yay! Okay, so here we also can see how many supplies this base has. It's full, 500.
Yeah, I'm gonna make that not
Oh, it's
full.
full.
Let's build the radio. Let's build the radio. Build the radio tower.
Oh, I don't have a shovel.
Yeah, shovel is a problem. You need to have it. That's what I said.
I've got one, it's okay.
I'll cover.
So now we will try
Yeah,
to.
that was a good reminder. We definitely need a radio.
Wait, that's a depot. Where's the radio? Why is he building depot? Oh yeah, there is a radio. So you basically see this pre-built visualization. You come around, you start digging.
We should be able to push up after we get these radios up.
Yeah, we are helping now. We're winning the battle.
One shovel at a time.
Всем позывным. Установленная ретрансляционная
Okay.
башня на базе «Игла». Конец связи.
Are you going now to build arsenal or is it too expensive?
I think actually Arsenal is quite expensive, and if you need to maintain your supplies for other people to spawn, building Arsenal yearly is not the best idea. Let me see. We have 241. They brought some with. There is still some in this vehicle which can be unloaded, but that's not much. You see that we have a quite limited.
Техники построен на базе «Игла».
Oh, they're gonna decommission the truck. That's very smart.
How do you even do that? Just look at the front of it?
Yeah, you just look at the front. Give you the prompt.
Will you build a fuel depot to refuel your truck? Or your...
I may try to find a fuel station nearby. We
How do you
are.
do that?
Well, you look at the map.
Go towards,
And you look for fuel stations. I think there is one here. That's how fuel station looks like.
yeah, let's do it.
And then if you are here,
You, what can we get you?
well, there's not that many. Okay, I don't see that many. Hey guys, wait for me. Wait, where are you going? Oh, I want to be a
Wanna
gun.
go with
Sure, mate.
Oh yeah.
Alright, I'll, where are we trying to go?
So what do you do now as a gunner? How do you
Okay,
make
yep.
sure that your squad stays alive?
Sorry, can you?
How do you make sure that your squad stays alive?
Well, at this position, if I'm a gunner, my main objective is to provide suppressive fire, engage anything which is in front cone of the vehicle, because I cannot really rotate it much. It's kind of stuck in the front, maybe 100 degrees cone. So good idea is to be prepared for that, have zoomed in and observe everything. Especially look for enemies which are just on the road, close the road in the bushes, trying to ambush us. He's navigating. So this is great cooperation. The driver is focused on driving. The second passenger is basically commandeering the vehicle by navigating it and giving the orders. And I'm observing, so I'm supposed to shout if I see anything and just provide
It's
suppressive
getting
fire.
bumpy in this field. Oh boy.
What are you on the lookout for? How do you scan your surroundings?
So you can do it in few different ways. Like right now I'm using ADS, so basically I'm using gun to look around, but I can also use the free look. I'm using the right bumper, and then I can rotate my camera just like my head is on the swivel, right? This is good because even now I can look backwards and kind of figure out, even if I cannot aim the gun there, if you are hiding somewhere in the bush or you have very good position in the building and you don't want to wave your gun around and be visible.
Contact at that
Or
checkpoint,
contact from.
gunner.
Where?
Yeah, past the fridge. I
Past
got a
the bridge.
scope, I might be able to...
You're good. I'm gonna stay in here so we can move them.
Suppressing. I'm very bad
There's
player.
one beside the bush to the left side of the bridge as well. I'm gonna move you up.
I'm not moving now. If the vehicle is moving, it's a bit harder. And now I have a... Fine.
I'm gonna move it over here and dismount us in the building side, but I'm gonna turn the gun so you can shoot.
Thank you. Okay, so now I can just provide suppressive fire until I run out of ammo, and then I'm gonna bail the vehicle. I could try to reload. It probably has some ammunition inside, but it's also situated quite badly, so it's not a very good idea. How do I... I should wait for my friends to push. I shouldn't go myself. Where is this
Maybe
guy?
while we're in the combat situation, you can tell us how to stay alive. Like, what are you doing now?
Well-
how do you take cover? How do you protect your comrades and yourself?
First thing, I'm not trying to rush towards the fire. Like, I'm probably kind of doing it. But like, oh, we are under fire. So I'm gonna use the hard cover. I'm gonna pay attention to where my friend is. I'm gonna try to suppress. If you want to reload, hide behind the cover so you're not exposed for an extended length of time. We are taking fire. This is probably AI squad. They are suppressing the whole tree line. Another thing which I could do is provide the smoke cover, basically by finding a smoke and then throwing it. This is not necessarily a good idea in all cases. Like at this moment, we should be beating that enemy by putting more fire down the range instead of covering ourselves. But there is only 2 or 3 of us, so may as well use it to cover the movement. I would sprint through the open spaces like I'm doing now, not to be too slow. Oh, there was a guy. That's very bad. Oh no, that's a wrong button. That's even worse. He's somewhere there, right? We can hear him shooting from behind the bushes, but maybe he doesn't see us very well, so I can try to sneak through the bushes. Be careful for giving the noise of it. Generally, approach your objective slowly and methodically. Try to use hard cover, try to use the concealment. Take.
The stream? Too?
Something went wrong here. I'm just gonna restart it quickly. Oh, maybe not.
Oh.
Maybe we didn't crash fully. We actually recovered.
Oh, and now you're bleeding.
Yeah, now I'm bleeding. Just give me a sec.
So what do you do if you're bleeding?
First find cover, then use bandages or tourniquets, depend on the situation. If you have to, if you don't have time, you should use tourniquets. They are very a lot quicker with applying. So here I'm gonna use, yeah, I'm gonna use the. How do I use it? Yeah, here. So now my character is applying tourniquet on the bleeding left leg, which will slow down the bleeding. It will not completely remove it, but now I'm not gonna die in next few seconds because of it. Another thing which you can do is use the morphine injector, which I still have one, and that recovers or helps with recovering of the health.
Oh my god, he's still alive.
Это жатва 01.
I don't have bandages? Oh, I have still one. Okay.
Do you still need to bandage yourself if
Yeah,
you're
I
bandaging
should.
yourself?
I should still bandage myself. Just wait a second.
First we need to get safe.
Yeah. In combat situation, it's actually better to provide the fire, to help with firing, than to just hide. Eventually, you know, you have to remove the danger. You have to remove the combat from the equation before you can actually take care of anything else.
So quick tourniquet and you keep providing fire.
For example, or if it's someone else that is downed, first remove the enemy from the equation before you really invest into helping him, because you may get killed as well, and that's not gonna help anyone. So now I can hear my friends are still pushing, still firing. This seems like I'm in safe spot, so I'm gonna do something egoistic and apply this bandage. Actually, are we still?
I'm running low on ammo.
It's just minor injury. I'm fine. This guy is running low on ammo. I have some mags. What do you have? Do you need mags?
Yeah, RPK. Oh, perfect.
Okay, let me just drop him a few magazines. I do it.
Close.
Okay,
trying to cross to our boy.
Two marks on the ground, covering.
Copy. Cover. Thank you, man.
Can the enemy actually hear you when you're talking to your friendlies?
Sorry again.
Can the enemy hear you when you're talking to your friendlies?
Yes, enemy players can hear everything you say the same as friendlies, as long as they are close enough, or they have the radio in that frequency.
So if you approach an enemy base, it's better to shut up.
Yeah, you have to pay attention to your communication, and some kind of OPSEC, communication security, you should apply. Generally speaking, people don't like nonsense chit-chatting on the radio because it bothers everyone.
Over there, I can grab a gun. I think there's still one over there sneaking around in those bushes. We gotta be careful.
Yeah, we gotta be careful.
I know there's one still to the right in those wood lines.
What are you doing now?
I'm just scanning, observing for enemy movement. They think there may be one more guy there. So, you can actually push AI from the cover by throwing grenades. They avoid at the tent. Somewhere there? I don't see him actually. Maybe behind? I think he said he got him. Now we're gonna push a bit. It's good idea to, yeah, as he's doing, he's checking the loot of those downed enemies. So we know that we spent some equipment, medical equipment. So we want to maybe grab. Let me pick up morphine and a bandage. Tourniquet I don't care that much. Just in case we get into further engagements. I didn't kill anyone, I wasn't very useful.
You provided suppressive fire.
Yeah, AI reacts to it because they have something called threat level. So if you put a lot of fire, if you aim at them, if you really endanger them, they will change their reaction, they will change their behavior. So they may even... you may be able to push better if you actually use that. I will take this grenade. Grenades are very useful. So always keep some if I know how to do it. Okay, what other questions do you have?
So now that you've captured the new base, what is the course of actions now? Do you need to build on every base, or are you being a bit strategic about it?
You can be strategic. You can build on every. That depends on the speed of expansion, basically. Right now, let me check the map. So where are we actually? That's a good question. Did we just? I think we are here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one. So we just captured Fakir. This is very frontline. I would expect the enemies may push back if they would be just behind the corner. But like logical next step would be try to hit Montignac or Province. The middle bases are often more contested than those small side bases. So you usually get more fights in Montignac, in Province, in Entredouet, in Chautagne, in Morton, than you get in let's say Figari or in Calvary Hill. This is because the environment is structured such way. If you have one faction spawning on the one side of the map and the other one on the other side of the map, like in our case, we spawned here. So enemies may be anywhere here. So there will be some like logical front line where middle important bases between us will be the most contested. But like military base levy may be one, Montignac may be one. So being there early, resupplying with supplies and building infrastructure, spawning maybe AI for defending, doing all those actions to make this base harder to capture is a good idea. But you have to kind of pay attention to strategical situation, listen to people talking, use the long range radio. Check out the radio. Okay, I need to figure out the radio now.
We
So
just had a hell of a gunfight here, man.
there is a radio. I can use it, theoretically speaking, right? So I can take it in hands. That's a cool thing. So, but there is a better way of doing this.
I haven't got a shovel though.
I'm on it.
No.
I'm on cover duty.
And we can
Oh.
take Montanak next and just try to push Entre Due. They'll probably need
Ooh,
contact up there.
Montignac? I'm gonna need some ammo for Monty.
If you would be a newbie, what would you do if you don't know how to use a
That's a good question. I would go to settings, go to controls, then find in this list something which is related, like equipment. Now I'm looking for radio. Is there a radio here?
Oh, this game's so fun, dude.
No. Okay.
I feel like I'm playing war, you know?
Yeah,
What
man,
else
I
do we
like how
have?
most of this game is.
Maybe it's in common.
It's not just Call of Duty, you go here, shoot that.
So here you can find all the possible actions and all the bindings. So
radio selection.
yeah, radio selection. It's the L1 plus this thing. L1 is this thing. Okay. So it's yeah. Finally. So here you have a radial menu which allows you to select the frequency or channel on which you want to talk. So my radio has 2 channels, and this one is group channel, so I would talk to those people which I just played with, and this is a platoon channel which allows me to talk to everyone. So if I select this this way, then start talking by double tapping, no, by holding. Yeah, by holding I can start talking on platoon channel. Hello everyone. I just spoiled the surprise. Listening on platoon channel, when you hear people talking, you will see them in the HUD. It also shows the frequency, so you can figure out is it a platoon channel, is it a group. Platoon channel communication usually means strategical discussion, so you can figure out what is happening on the map. When people talk about their problems, oh, you can actually see that Americans just captured Entre Due, so they are coming from somewhere here.
Trophy in the trunk.
Oh, they also have Gravette. That's a combat nearby. We definitely should hit Montignac now.
You wanna come with us?
Hey, Dev, you wanna come with us still, buddy?
Fuck, let's go.
Yeah, thanks. Picking up. I will just reload the main gun. Oof. I warmed up.
Nice,
Reach over
nice.
you and close your door for you.
Time to show us how a big
There
battle
might
is
be
fought.
AI on this road.
Okay,
Not sure.
big
Let's
battles.
try our best to fly past them.
Yeah.
Yeah, big battles can be a thing, right? So it can be chaotic. It can be a lot of things happening at the same time. A lot of fire, a lot of explosions, people dying, people shouting through the radio, and on local, people using enemy equipment. So you get even more confused because the identification friendly from foe is difficult already. Name tags help. You can see I see the names, but the name tags disappear after some distance.
Go to Vag.
Okay, I need to get ready because we are getting closer to
So
Montignac.
they're gonna start taking some
Um,
northern objectives.
How do you strategically
Contact left
approach
side. Ooh,
the
no.
base?
Keep it rolling.
sorry, that was RPG. Again?
How do you strategically approach attacking the base? Like, do you go straight in? Do you walk?
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
stop in
yeah.
advance?
He's in the road. He's
That's the
aiming
whole
us.
science of military combat, basically you're asking now. There is so many different
Back to
strategies.
right here to the
But
left.
generally speaking, scouting and knowing what is the enemy is a good answer. So right now we are probably acting like as a forward scouts, which are pushing towards enemy lines and trying to figure them out by combat. By forcing them to fire at us, we will find out where they are. Why are they? This is a bad idea. You know what? I'm fucking bailing this. We are too close to enemy to drive backwards. I'll just hide. Yeah, those guys got the idea from me, so now we just move by foot. What we want to do now is be more like incognito and Don't get spotted too quickly. Like, jump over it. Hey, can I jump over it? Thank you.
Disappeared on me, man.
I don't want to die in a silly way. And then he jumps. Because everyone will be saying, what the hell, developers themselves don't know how to play. As my excuse, I'm playing on PS5 controller, and as far, it is pretty immersive and easy to control, but I'm a PC player mostly, so the whole concept of this object is alien and difficult to me. That's my excuse.
No, we don't take any excuses. Don't die, Klamacz.
I'm trying.
Okay. So
Actually, one more thing, be aware of where you are, what are the directions towards enemy. Right now we are pushing Montignac from this side, that's where we came from, right? And we had some fire, so there were some enemies that direction. We also know that the Americans captured Entredouet, which is right there. That's the radio tower, and the base is somewhere behind those forests, maybe like 200 meters more. So that's the most obvious direction where the enemy will come. If you are aware of that, and you can use map and compass to figure out, if you know we are here, enemy is over there, that's more or less like east, north, east. You can use compass to actually find that direction. I know this place pretty well. Oh, that's friendly. But we are taking fire now. Barn, okay. So enemies already infiltrated the compound, and they have people probably in the barn, probably behind that wall, probably in this building over there, which is office building. So the most logical action would be to simply wait for them. Hold your line, define like paths which enemy players can use to approach you. Be slow and methodical with controlling those paths and clearing the map. Right now I will follow. I followed the guy because it's friendly pushed in. If he dies alone and I'm not there to support him, then it's a loss for both of us because there is less of us. So I wanted to follow him and support him, look where he's not looking, cover his ass, as we say.
And how do you communicate when you're pushing together? Do you need to call enemies or call contact somehow? What is...
Yeah, you should. On the other hand, with such close proximity to enemies, be careful about giving them hints by speaking, because they can localize you in the world. They will know you there. So I'm trying to move slowly, do not peek too much, use the concealment and not speak. And if you have... That was movement. Okay. Probably there is a guy right there. Top floor, yeah, top floor of the office building.
Dropped him. Might be more. He's dead. Good work.
They cleared the building. So, nice. I think we dealt with two guys, which usually is typical force of such infiltration. They may place a radio backpack deployed somewhere nearby, which gives them spawn points, so they don't have to travel all the way, but they will just spawn in some bushes or other concealment position around.
Can you destroy such a thing?
Yes, you should find them and you should undeploy them or destroy them. So disassemble them or destroy them. But to find them, you have to actually patrol the perimeter, let's say. So we know our base is there. Those guys are now will try to control this building. It's a very important position. But people often also sneak through. Whoa, that's an enemy. Oh my goodness. Thank you, the other guy. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And that's why team cooperation is important.
I would say here what saved me is the team cohesion, the fact that I was close to them. If I would be alone, I would be probably dead. But yeah, now I will go alone a bit further from them because I want to check this area. There is a bit of forest here, people often sneak through. Also, a cool thing which you can do, which maybe I shouldn't tell you because now you will be abusing it. So if you don't want to know spoilers, don't listen to this now. but you can find, if I know how to do it, you can find enemy radio and you can pick it up, and that allows you to listen to enemy communication. So now
This morning.
we will hear a bit more chatter on the radio, but we may actually
come
get
pick me up if you
hints on where enemy are and if they are planning to come here.
And that's why it's important to
jumping gun up.
change channels sometimes, because if you can do it, your enemy can do it too.
Yeah, when we had the kill Klamacz event, that was our tactics, that we
gunners, you
knew
got
that
both gunners.
if we lose the radio, enemy will be able to listen to our plans. So we had special codes to switching the frequencies. So we kind of stayed mobile over the radio range of frequencies. But yeah, you never can fully be safe. There is when you play this game, especially in such PvP open context where there is AI, there are other players, you can be listened to, you can be hunted, someone can hear your radio communication. Someone could be right there in this bush right now, sneaking and just waiting for us to look around to bayonet me. The danger is everywhere, and you have to pay attention. You have to control your space. You have to keep cooperating with others. If I hear shots and this guy disappears, I know he's dead, and I more or less remember where he was. So all of those are important hints that you should keep in mind.
This sounds like this game is more about strategy than just FPS and clear reflexes. Is that right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I would say we are old players of Arma, and we got used to. Wait a second, is that an enemy? Yes, that's an enemy. Wait a second.
He doesn't see you.
No, I don't see him. Oh, there he is. I should tell that to those guys, warn them that there is an enemy nearby.
He killed our friend.
Survive? Or did he die? Oh, he died. Okay. But I was too focused on trying to answer the question. Sounds.
We were talking about that this game is a bit more strategic than FPS driven, and you were talking that
Yeah.
you are a veteran of Arma gameplay, so you're used to
Yes.
older gaming experience.
Yes, and also we are not that young anymore, so we cannot really compete with Call of Duty crowd as for how quickly we can click the buttons. On the other hand, by making the game more tactical and strategy oriented, where you have to think about what you're doing, when the speed of clicking is not that important, but positioning and planning is, then we actually can still make it fun for us. But I think it's the big part of the authenticity of the series of this game is that the reflex doesn't matter that much. What you did all before, pulling the trigger, matters. Your planning, your preparation, your understanding of environment, your communication with others. There is a huge reward when you plan and execute your ambush, and when you see people being beaten by you because you planned it well, not because you were quicker in fighting.
Awesome. And it was also, I think, interesting to see that this is not the game where you aim for headshots, right? Because most of the time you were shooting bushes, practically.
Yeah. It's a lot about providing fire, not necessarily even firing at visible targets. There is a lot more bullets fired at empty space, and then you have to go there and control and actually investigate. Did you even hit anyone? Is there any downed player? Are there any bodies? Because you don't know if you really killed anyone or not. So the information is hard to get. It's not given to you by default. We don't have. We have some kill feeds which is configurable, but by default you only see your friendlies dying. You don't know why they died. And if you kill enemies, you don't know if you kill them until you go there and see actually body which is not breathing.
Yeah, I guess it's also good to mention that you can wound an enemy,
Yes.
and they can get back up after a
Yes,
while.
because we have this unconscious system, and they can wake up after some time, patch themselves up, relocate, and ambush you again. So whenever you get into engagement, you should, if you want to control that area, because you may always disengage and move somewhere else, but you should know how many enemies there were and make count of them. Oh, this guy has RPG. Sorry, LAW.
And how, like, you've probably observed a lot of new players joining the game. Where do they usually get stuck on? Where does the learning process stop? How would you recommend learning and avoiding the common pitfalls of newbies who just pick up a game and then say, oh, that's too complicated, too much to learn?
Yeah, I guess the complexity will be overwhelming at sometimes. There is so many things that you could do, you can do. There are so many items and options that it may get confusing. Usually, just take it slow. Don't overburn yourself. You are fresh, you are new. That's okay. Communicate this well to other people so they are not expecting too much. They will give you hints instead. Try not to abuse the game, like just because you want to check all the tools. You can always do it in Game Master. Use Game Master. Oh, actually, that's the best hint I can give you. Use Game Master to try things, to play with things, to learn how the vehicles drive, how the helicopters fly, and how guns shoot, before you join multiplayer session and start getting into trouble of. Oh, that's not an enemy. Before you affect other people's gameplay and someone will complain about it, right? So that probably would be annoying if you try to learn and some other people will be like, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. You can avoid it by using Game Master.
Do you maybe want to show us some of the Game Master? Like, how does it work so that new people can try and experiment with things freely?
Yes, I will. Let me just see if we actually confirm that the guy is dead here. He drove into the tree, I think, and this exploded, but I don't see the body. Sometimes body gets ejected by explosion, so it could be somewhere nearby. But that's not a good sign. This guy could be still around. Okay, I will leave that server and switch to Game Master.
ГСМ доставлены на базу плазма. Конец связи.
That's pretty easy. Click. Oh my.
Yeah, I still have a lot to ask.
The grilling part, right?
Yeah, exactly. This was just a warm-up, Klamacz.
I'm already warm.
So let's get into difficult questions then, huh?
Mm.
Well, first you're gonna explain us a little bit about the GM, and then I'm gonna ask you a little bit about how was the development of PS5
Okay.
and development of the game in general.
Okay. So Game Master is cool because you have access to all the maps, all the places, all the equipment, and all the toys, and you can just try them and play with them and compose multitude of different scenarios just to test how things work, right? So let's say we are on Ireland now. Typical conflict, one of the bases in typical conflict is right here in Arleville. Like, forgive me. And then I can do stuff with it. So I can, for example, have a squad of US soldiers here, and I can have a squad of Russian soldiers over there, and then just see how they engage and observe how AI acts, and be able to then play the game with a bit more understanding what's going on. So now we have those two groups. I can also take control or spawn my own character, but here I will try to. That's gonna be. Okay, thank you. There is option to take control, so now I can play as this AI, which is fairly useful if you wanna try different loadouts and try different situations. So I could actually go, if I shoot, I will probably, let me see, I don't know if that's gonna work, but it should work. Yeah, the other team recognized that there was something happening, they heard the shots, now they're going to investigate. And as they're going to investigate, they will approach that position and then this team will start fighting. So I could give them waypoints, there are such things. I just need to find out how.
And waypoint is an objective.
Yes, so I can give them different, like seek and destroy makes them go there and investigate that area. Defend makes them defend that area, you know, like obviously. So you can control the AI teams and give them simple missions to realize, and you can still join the fight at any point by. I struggle with the. What's this? Okay. So I can still take control. And now we are in the fight. Probably. Those guys look agitated already. Like they noticed something. Oh yeah, they noticed something. So you can enjoy different weapons, you can enjoy different equipment, you can learn how to kill AI, how to fight them, how to throw grenades, how to play them. For example, here we just learned how quickly they are able to recognize that you peaked and start shooting. You just have a few seconds, so better be quick. And if you and they like to suppress the place as well. Okay, I'm good. You can follow AI to see how they are doing. There was a guy here, but he just probably died. Or you can try yourself. That's one of many things that you can do in GM. I'll let this continue. This guy is now again back controlled by AI, so they will continue fighting.
What are those circles with S and M on them?
Oh, those are like prepared slots in which you can quickly spawn something interesting or relevant. So then I can say, oh, I want a bunker here, and I just create a bunker. Or here I will say, I will put a command post, and I just expanded the environment by additional objects. I actually created a hill here. We can make a king of the hill now.
King of the hill for your eyes?
So this just helps you populate the world quicker with compositions which fit those places nicely. So you don't have to fiddle that much with, you know, how exactly should I position them. You can still do this. It's just a quicker way.
Mm-hmm. And is the game master mostly for you to train, or is there some other purpose?
Oh, there are many different things that you can do. This is like Zeus from Arma 3. So the most obvious way of using it is having your friends over, running this on some server or a joining server which already hosts Game Master, and then creating the experience for other people. So right now we have those AI fighting here. I could imagine that someone joins the server and says like, I wanna play with you, right? I can make the factions playable. You know what? I can make any faction playable, and then I can create something called spawn points, I think. Yeah, so I can create spawn points for them or objectives to basically create the little scenarios. So this is if there would be FIA player, he could spawn right here, and I could give him. Let me see what I can give him. Out there. Don't mind me. I wanted to create objectives. Okay, somehow you can make objectives for them. So I could give them, you know, capture that area, make sure that there is no US or Soviets around, and that would create kind of this rebellion scenario in which underdog is beating two well-organized armies to control the place. But you can make anything. I could make a civilian character and play as a press, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's not civilian character. This. So just the amount of things that you can create in Game Master, all the different characters, all the different. Let me actually show you everything. That's everything. Okay, that's 88 pages of possible content. The American groups, the Russian groups, FIA groups, particular characters, including some very specific loadouts like helicopter pilots, special forces, snipers, radio operators, ammo bearers, sappers, and so on. So you have all the different characters. Then you have rebellions, FIA, which we call them. We have civilians. We have different vehicles. So those are American vehicles: Humvees, jeeps, ambulances, trucks with specialties like command, like arsenal, like construction, like ammo and repair. You have armed versions with 50 cals, 7.62, only frontal cone, fully rotated like Humvee. You have transport helicopters on both sides. You have then FIA variants for multiple vehicles, civilian variants, special civilian vehicles which are not available as military versions like Skoda, tripod which you can build defenses with, so you can make a base where AI is manning those tripods and you have to beat it or defend from waves of AI yourself. You can create minefields. This is one of the basic things that you should use, which is the arsenal box. Let me put it somewhere where I won't be bothered by AI for a moment. But if this is our spawn point and I'm creating a scenario for our friends, I want to give them some equipment which they can choose from. So I would give them arsenal box. This is basically the same thing as in conflict. You have all the weapons and all the equipment. But I think there is more to it. Let me just quickly check. If I edit properties, I can actually enable and disable particular things. So let's say I don't want them to use advanced weapons, I want them to use only pistols, and this way I can make that happen. There is hundreds of, maybe not hundreds, but like a lot of possible objects that you can place to make the scenario more interesting, to have some context, to have specific narration that you wanna, story that you wanna tell with the scenario, and there is just lots of them. You wanna, yeah, go on. And of course you can modify properties of the scenario, so you can make any faction playable or not. You can make the scenario use supplies or not, use respawn or not, allow this respawn in different ways. You can change the time of day and date, so it will affect how the moon is shown, how the stars are shown. We have very realistic astronomical simulation, so all the objects are properly simulated according to the date, time, and the geographical location. You can change the time progression. You can make it quicker, so night has only few hours instead of realistic. You can make any weather as well, which is cool.
Yeah, maybe you can make some beautiful weather and take us for a flight in a helicopter while I ask you some dev questions.
Oh, you want to make it difficult? Yeah, okay,
Of
fine.
course.
Yeah, one by one. Difficult weather during the day. I like the sunset. Let's go for a sunset, right? Is this sunset
Maybe a little or
a bit too?
too late.
That's better. That's better. Okay, so let's have a helicopter. I'll find a airfield. I'll try to pull myself. So double X allows me to create my own character, and then this big button allows me to create all the other objects. I will find vehicles, I will scroll to find the helicopter. I will take UH1 because it's nicer to fly with. It is a bit easier to fly with than Mi8. And, we good. What are your questions?
Well, how now that you are getting a hang of controls for PS5, how did you design them? How did you make those controls to fit the console and stay authentic?
Yeah, that's I think is one of the biggest challenges of generally console versions of Arma is how to squeeze all of those options in that object, which has combinations, but you know this is not 100 keys like on the keyboard. This required us to rethink a lot of things. So instead of trying to fit all the inputs as keys, we moved some of those inputs as actions. So you find them in 3D space as you look around and as you interact with the vehicle. So for example, auto hover doesn't need a special input, special button on my controller if I can find it here and enable it here with the same button. So user actions help. Additional thing is the context. If I'm ADSing with my weapon, I can operate my zeroing of my scope, but I don't have to operate bandages at this moment. Until I switch to bandage. So you have some specific controls which work only in specific context, which allows you to simplify the whole flow, move them only to that context. So you're not kind of polluting your possibilities with too many different inputs. And generally speaking, a lot of things about Arma were usually too complex, like the learning curve and the controls complexity in Arma 3 is one of its bad sides. It is necessary for the realism of simulation and all the options that you can do, but it's not really good thing. So for us it was also opportunity to rethink what we should do. Wait a sec. What we should do to make the game a bit more accessible, a bit more good to play for anyone, not only those which can afford all the control devices and afford a weeks of learning all the keystrokes, right? Mm-hmm. So in the end, I think it's a good thing for everyone, even if you don't play controller, even if you play on PC, because the user experience and how you interact with the game is now a lot simpler for you, for your friends, for your teammates. If you're building a milsim community, you can spend a few hours less on training, because now it's basically more human, more close to something like other games do.
It's more intuitive.
More intuitive, yes. Less controls, but with the same amount of options. We just try to move them into different places, so you can still do all those things, but they are maybe more contextual, maybe more immersive as well, being in the world, not just being key-binds.
And how did DualSense specific features help or enhance that experience?
Oh yeah, I think it was mentioned in the previous scene, but the adaptive triggers and the motion control, it just adds to immersion. It creates the, I would say, tangible connection between what happens on the screen and what you feel on your hand. Mm-hmm. When you press the trigger on automatic weapon and you feel it kicking back on you, it creates this immersion point in your brain. It fools you a bit. It makes it a bit more real, and that makes the whole experience more enjoyable. It's easier to get fooled by the game when it behaves and acts just like you would expect from a real life to behave and act. So this tangibility and really adds to the immersion. The same with motion control. First time when I was trying it in the office and I aimed with the weapon and actually followed what I do with my hands, it almost like did something with my brain. Like I wasn't aware that it's possible. that there is a connection between my hands and my eyes. Like, oh wow, that works.
Awesome. How does it propagate in general to the design process of a new feature? Like, could you walk us through how we design features for Arma?
Oh wow, that's actually very deep and complex problem. So we usually look at Arma as a platform where we want those features to be available in maximum contexts, usable for players in maximum like amount of scenarios. Also, they need to be generalized to the point that they are all usable in conflict. Like one thing which we evolved from previous Armas is that we want all the things that the game supports to be usable all together. We don't want the features which only make sense in a specific scenario and only are used in that specific scenario and nowhere else. Just kind of a waste of opportunity. If we can make all the vehicles, all the weapons, and all the features work together on the same map with a bunch of people, one bunch of players using them at the same time, this makes the whole scenario, all those people experience better. Not only the ones which is using it, but everyone's. So that's like a very important foundation. We also, of course, want the features to be as authentic as possible. I think there is a lot of value in trying to simulate the reality. Reality has already a lot of balancing and done. So like everything has a consequence. Everything has some positive and negative aspects, and we sometimes don't even have to design them in a way of like game design usually goes. Let's imagine what could it be. All we have to do is look at the real life, and BTR will have disadvantages because it has them in real life, and Huey is a great helicopter, but it has somewhat realistic capabilities, so it's automatically balanced because we made it authentic, we made it close to the real counterpart.
And what do you enjoy about designing the game this way?
I guess I enjoy the development process where we can create new things. We have great ideas. We have very powerful modding system. So we are running Enfusion. We are running Workbench Editor. Basically, the tools that developers are using are basically the same as modders are using, or at least the Workbench one, right? And that is very quick to prototype. You can quickly and happily create new, interesting, exciting content or functions, play with them, test them, and evolve them further. So we often have crazy ideas, we try them. Many of those don't get put in game or are just ideas allowing us to confirm that we have enough modding capabilities. But it's one of the most enjoyable parts for me. Trying new things, putting them in games, see how we can evolve the platform. That's what I like. And you know that.
I do. And now that we're both are teary-eyed, let me ask you some more grilling questions.
Okay.
What's up with all the screen tearing on PS5, Klamacz?
I think it's the VSync, no? I think it's the VSync. We probably just need to enable it. But that's a problem which our render programmers will have to look at. And we may provide a patch in January which should improve this and a few other things.
And why have the servers gone down several times since the release?
Well, the truth is that we for a long time we didn't have that many players as we have now, and some of the things in the game and in the backend systems maybe weren't prepared for that much traffic. So we had to find out this a hard time. The servers went down 2 consecutive days because of that, but we fixed it basically in a few days. Our Enfusion team identified very quickly what could be optimized. They did it, now it's a lot more stable. So basically we have to react to success. It's unfortunate that we have so many people trying to play official servers, and it creates sometimes issues, but it's also good for us because we are making the game more ready for even bigger amount of players in future.
Cool. And why does PS Pro enhancement not get 120 FPS?
I guess Well, I can get 120 FPS if I look into the sky, nothing happens, and I'm alone on the server. Probably I can easily get 120 FPS, but when all the things are happening, all the bullets are flying, and all the people are shouting, and all the action is happening, there is a little hardware in the world which can handle this with 120 FPS. Arma always been pushing the hardware to the edge. Previous Armas are famous for being a test bed. If you have a new powerful machine, can it run Arma in the maximum details and maximum amount of action? Reforger is a lot better in that matter. The Enfusion allows us to do multi-threaded simulation a lot better, so we utilize the CPU in more efficient way than Arma 3 could ever do. It looks a lot better. The rendering is greater than previous Armas. Is also probably quicker thanks to those Enfusion improvements. But when you have so much action and so many items, so many objects, millions of trees, and kilometers squared of terrain, hundreds of players, yeah, it may go slow sometimes. Please be reasonable.
Alright. And maybe we can switch to the other islands and game us on the other island? So you can fly on another island, we can see terrain there as well?
Yeah, let me just quickly start this thing. Yeah, that was the small island, that was the Arland, so it's few circles and it's done. But if we run Everon, that takes a while. Can I drive instead?
Yes.
Awesome.
As long as you first show the map through GM, so we can see how big Everon is.
Sure.
As we are loading, maybe I can already start asking you some questions about history of Arma. Because Arma Reforger is an installment that stands on the shoulders of 25-year-old history, right? Since Operation Flashpoint, we've been making Arma games.
Yes.
What has stayed the same? What design philosophy we try not to stray away from?
Well, we had to rework the game from scratch because it's a new tech and basically nothing which was done before was easily applicable to the new technology. So basically I think from all the code that Arma 3 produced over 20 years, only ballistic simulation of projectiles was actually straight moved into Reforger and used for some time, but even that evolved later and had to be improved, and we were adding the penetration and a few other things to it, so it had to be upgraded. But basically there was no way for us to copy the good solutions from previous Arma and make them automatically exist in new next-gen Arma as Reforger is. So everything had to be refought, everything had to be redone from scratch, and when you are redoing something which had 25 years of history, you have enough of data to kind of tell you what should you do, what can you use, what you cannot use. Basically all you have to do is look at the previous Armas and you kind of have a standard of what you should achieve. The authenticity, the freedom of choice, the icon. I need to do the icon thingy. The freedom of choice, the creativity, those are like the main points that we want to retain. The fact that you can create the scenario like I'm doing now and just enjoy it in any way you wish, that's your freedom of choice. The fact that we are not limiting the players to certain corridor of action. We give them tools, we give them challenges, and we can expect them to figure it out. That's the game. And we wanted to stay true to those basic values which Arma has, right? Arma is the very realistic military simulation game, but it's also a sandbox full of tools, full of opportunities, right? Which you should be able to enjoy just as a sandbox.
So we're not forcing the players into any particular type of gameplay we're
Yeah.
suggesting, but
Yes. So I'm glad because Reforger is already. It can be played in many different ways. It can be played by solo people and by team players and by dads, which only have 30 minutes in the evening and PS5 and couch. But also by younger people, which can spend whole day grinding the ranks and building the infrastructure, whatever else they enjoy in this game. There's a huge modding scene, which on PC and Xbox provides almost infinite amount of additional content. All the different armies and all the different terrains and vehicles and weapons and
just to mention that on PS5 the modding is not yet available, but we're working with our Sony partners to get it there as well.
Yes.
Because modding is an important part of Arma experience, and once you guys learn how to play vanilla good enough, we will add it.
Yes.
Soon, TM.
Yes, it is being worked on. Okay, I can see. What else? The modding really adds to it, creates the angles which we couldn't even predict as a developer. So I believe there is it's a quite efficient way for us to create tools to elevate the creativity of players than to try to be creative ourselves too much that we would limit them into one certain way of acting, playing, enjoying, experiencing this game, right? So, yeah.
And the previous, of course, very well-known installment of Arma franchise is Arma 3, that released already more than 10 years ago, and only on PC. What are the big differences between Arma 3 and Arma Reforger?
Performance, that's the first big difference, like the FPS client performance that we can get on Reforger is a lot better than Arma 3 could achieve with similar quality, even maxed out graphical quality and a bit of action. So the performance is a big step forward. Now we can achieve higher numbers even with a lot more action. We can push the game further than we could push it with the previous tech. Graphical improvements. The rendering pipeline uses the realistic materials. It's called PBR. The lights are dynamic. The shadows exist. You can. The way this game looks and feels when you are inside is incomparable to anything before. I mean, Arma 3 can be beautiful. I remember it being beautiful, but I cannot play it anymore. If that's any measurement for you. And why I cannot play it? Because also the smoothness of control, the locomotion of character, the fact that our animation system is also a lot more advanced. The Arma typically, all the Armas of all those years were known for a bit of clunkiness, a bit of this too much realism which got in the way of how smoothly can I control it as a player. And where all the other shooters are making it more easy for you to jump around and headshot people, Arma was always the difficult one. You had to think about every step because the inertia, because the animations lock you in this and that. We wanted to improve this, so the current locomotion is a lot more smooth, a lot more similar to what industry standard is, which also removes the obstacle for new players. They will feel more, I guess, more fluid, more free to do the actions instead of being constantly having to fight with the system. Right, so this is a huge improvement. I cannot play the previous Armas anymore because of it.
Yeah, I guess also UX on Arma 3.
Oh yeah, user actions. Oh my goodness, yes, you're right. User action menu from Arma 3 killed probably more people than enemies. And we have finally something which we always wanted, which was first the 3D user actions available in world space. They were first introduced in Take on Helicopters, but I think really popularized by DayZ, and how DayZ allows those actions to increase the interactability with the world. You don't have to have inputs for everything. You can actually find objects and make them work by having those points of action on them. So this was a big lesson for us, and one of the first biggest changes we did when doing Reforger.
And what's still similar between Arma 3 and Arma Reforger?
I guess the feeling of that it's a huge battlefield in which you are just a small cog and you may not have impact at all sometimes, and sometimes you're just rolling like on a roller coaster, observing and experiencing it, instead of, you know, being the top shooter or top killer or top performer. That's pretty similar. Like there is enjoyment in being part of well-organized group, realizing some, you know, challenging objectives, and just seeing this happen in front of you, and sometimes not even shooting that much, but just being there and being part of it. And that's, I think, very similar. But its effect of less of a intelligent design, like I'm gonna blame ourselves a bit, but we knew that it's gonna happen, not because we're gonna design it this way, but because we're gonna create realistic platform, realistic sandbox in which those things will happen, because that's the way it is.
And you worked on both Arma 3 and Arma Reforger, right?
Yes.
What was different in working on those two titles?
Oh, Arma 3 was very difficult to work on. The code base was already quite old, complex, had all the different functions in it. It wasn't very modern. A lot of differences how we as programmers, developers, scripters work with the system changed drastically. So actually it translates into being able to produce things a bit faster, especially the part which is rapid prototyping is a lot easier now in Workbench and Fusion than it was in the real virtuality engine, which makes the development a bit more efficient, and definitely more pleasant for developers. So I think it's definitely better for us. We have more power to create cool game features when the tech is smoother and, you know, better organized, done with some better industry standards and whatnot. What else? The things we can do, I think, is also a big change. Arma 3 had this problem of you had to make things compatible with previous content. So we couldn't remove functions and features from the game, because there is probably some scenario existing on the workshop which uses that, and by removing that function we'll break that scenario. It's called backward compatibility, and we had to keep it. And Arma 3 had to keep it for 20 years, and that's very bad for the quality of the code, quality of the software. So one of the first decisions we made with the new Arma Reforger that we don't want to be stuck with the backward compatibility. We need to be able to evolve the game, sometimes in the bad directions, or like different directions than before, which means that we need to be able to remove things, deprecate methods, change, refactor, completely redo things to be able to evolve them better in future. So this changes maybe in a bad way. Some Arma 3 players would say modding on Arma is easier because it breaks less often as the game updates. That's true. Every Reforger updates have some effect on modding scene by making mods incompatible or straight broken, and they have to take some time to get updated. But on the other hand, it doesn't slow us down, and we can evolve the technology quicker and make more ballsy decisions about what we're gonna do with the game.
And why didn't you just copy-paste Arma 3 features from Arma 3 into Arma Reforger?
Everything is different. The code is different. The base methods are different. Everything is different. It's simply not possible technically to copy features, code, script, even assets. Everything changed. Like all the assets had to be redone from scratch, even just because the PBR textures, the way they are rendered is different. And if you are a modder and you're trying to convert things from Arma 3 to Reforger, you probably know already. If you don't do it from scratch, if you don't apply the new tech, it will not look good. It's a lot of work.
Alright, so from legacy to the future, what are you planning now that Reforger is on PS5? Do you have some plans, or is it just live ops?
Of course, well, live ops later. First, we need to deliver on the promises which we made, and that's the roadmap. So we have the remaining features for the roadmap spread over multiple milestones, which will happen next year. Details to follow. Right now, we are focusing on a milestone called 1.3, which is on experimental on Steam. It is available for PC players, and that will bring a lot of improvements and changes to the game. So we are adding new vehicles, LAD-25 and BRDM. We are adding mortars, which can provide indirect fire support, long range, well, like almost long range artillery, because it's few kilometers range. We are adding destructible trees and destructible buildings. That's a big change because it will reshape the environment. All those trees and all those buildings which are here now may disappear if there is enough firepower involved. And of course we are adding offensive helicopter weapons, so like this Huey which you just flew is can be now equipped with rocket pods, and those are very powerful weapon systems. So we're bringing more tools, more distraction, more features. We are of course fixing bugs as we find them. We read the feedback of people from Discord and other places very seriously. We take it into account. We use those reports to find the issues and fix them in game. We use any hints we can and all the statistics tracking to improve crash rate and performance. So it's a constant effort on making the game as best to play from technical point of view, but also as fulfilling or as full to play from the features and content point of view.
And how do you feel all those changes will change the gameplay experience for players?
I'm afraid that every bigger major patch will basically throw the experience upside down and force you to learn something new. It's like creating new axis of importance, something which previously wasn't possible now is, which means that you have to learn how to use it, learn how to counter, learn how to recognize it, and so on. For example, mortars are very challenging to use. You have to do some math, you have to do some navigation, you have to understand ballistic tables and be able to use map and connect all those data points into actual fire solution to be able to deliver something. You have to coordinate with others. There is a lot of new ways of playing available because of that, but also ways of being played, let's say, being destroyed or being affected.
Is meta game kind of a thing in Arma? Does it change the meta, or is it not something that Arma players experience because there's too many ways to play the game?
I think there is. I think there is always some kind of meta. The most efficient way of transporting or engaging. We're trying to make every tool viable in some way and some time. So it's not like if you take a particular weapon, that's the best one you can get and everyone will be running with it. But it happens, people evolve, people find way how to maximize the use of particular items, so then we have to think about it. Do we want to balance this one way or another? For example, in this version we brought, it's in this version of Recumbrance, I think it's in this version. So if you load too much on you, you will be slower than other people. And that's a big disadvantage of carrying heavy weapons, heavy equipment with you, because you cannot sprint that far, that fast, or you cannot even jog that fast, and you get tired sooner, and then this affects your weapon handling and other things. So when we recognize that players are abusing the fact that you have a huge backpack, you can take a lot of equipment and ammunition with you, we basically devised a new feature which works against it to control that meta. So as long as we pay attention, there should be no abusive meta, and even the some things are better than others, just factually correct. BTR is better than UAZ, and it's hard to argue with it. And people, when possible, will use BTR more than UAZ, but it's not meta. It's just the way the vehicles and weapons are done.
But BTR is more expensive, so you will need
Yes.
more supplies.
Yes.
And it's not that everyone can just grab a BTR and run
Yes.
with it.
Yes, it also has disadvantages. It's less mobile. Maybe it cannot climb hills that well as UAZ. UAZ is very well known for its off-road capabilities. One of the best cars for it. So everything in the end has some place and time to use. And the game is so wide and have so many challenges and options that you cannot really say one way is better than others.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Maybe one last question before we wrap up. Can you tell me some cool moments from playing Arma Reforger that you remember as a special one?
I would say, I played different Armas for 20-something years, and as players, we are always on the lookout for those memorable experience, something that is so cool and so impactful that we tell friends about it, even if they don't know the game. We go like, oh, I had this experience, something that happens. And after 20 years of playing, I guess I got topped by the Lead Klamacz event. Yeah, because being chased by the whole server, having a literal one life event when you're dead, you're gone. The excitement and stress of it, the pressure and how much you pay attention to everything then was just on the highest possible level. That was the best multiplayer experience I ever had, especially being lost in the forest and trying to find my teammates by radio, and knowing that this helicopter which is circling over there is actually looking for me, listening on frequencies, being hunted. That was the best one.
Awesome. If you guys want to watch how it went, go on our channels to check it out. And for now, I think that's it. Let us know in the comments how playing Reforger on PlayStation and on other platforms is going for you. Thank you so much for listening to us rambling for 2 hours. We've had lots of fun. Hope you had fun as well. And have a lovely holidays. And after Christmas and New Year's, we're gonna come back with more exciting updates for Arma. Thank you, Klamacz, for showing us the game.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for questioning me, and good luck.
See you on the battlefield.